I'm Mary Stevens. I'm from Lakeview. I'm thankful for all these veterans who gave so much so that we could have what we have today.
I'm Tyler Stanton. I'm here in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia during the World War II reenactment. Things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for living in my God-given country, the United States of America. I'm thankful for being an Army veteran, and I'm thankful for being able to spend time with my family.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Langenbach here in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia for Remembering World War II. I'm thankful for all the veterans who have come out during the war to defend our freedoms and defend our nation. I'm thankful for all the veterans today who have made sure that our country can stay great the way it is. And I'm thankful for everything that God has blessed me with to be able to let me come out here and do this today. Thank you.
Today we are featuring World War II veteran Mr. Otis Hickman. Mr. Hickman has lived in this area since 1941 when his eldest brother was inducted. He was drafted into the service and went through the service center here in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Mr. Hickman, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So excited to talk to you and learning about your accomplished military career as well as your career outside the military since you retired. You wanted to go into the service.
Yes, I did.
You were gainfully employed in Rossville, Georgia, working at Ryan's Pharmacy. Is that correct? Ryan's Pharmacy, which is no longer there, but you were accomplished there. You started out and you were making how much per week?
I'm ashamed to tell you, but I was making tops, I guess. I made $9 a week.
$9 a week.
$9 a week when I worked there. And then when I went across the street, I got a raise to 12.
Went across the street. You went to work at Roy's Grill, and everyone knows Roy's Grill. Been there since 1932. And you were there as a cook, and you started learning a lot there with food services, correct?
That is correct. At 16 years old, the manager, Jim Lewis, the owner's brother, he had to have cataract surgery. So they take him to Chattanooga to the eye center, and they remove these cataracts. So that left me there in charge of the whole shebang, no checks, no nothing. So I go ask him, I said, well, what am I going to do about all these bills? How are we going to pay them? So forth and so on. Well, just sign Roy's name to it. I said, I can't do that. He said, oh, yeah, you can. I said, I'll authorize it for you. Go down to the Hamilton National Bank and tell Mr. Garner who you are and tell him that you're going to be taking care of all the payouts and all that and another over there. And I have authorized you to sign Roy's signature. So I had to learn how to do Roy's signature to the best I could, you know. And I learned how to do his signature and all these things. And I went down there and I talked to Mr. Garner, and, well, you're too young for this kind of business. I said, well, yeah, I know I'm young, but I can handle it. You know, I guess I was a little overconfident, but I look at it now, I wasn't too overconfident because I knew I could do it, you know. And so I took the responsibility of running the place while he was in the hospital and all that stuff.
Wow.
During that period of time.
Trial by fire. You jumped in, you took over it, and you proved yourself. You had begun working at Ryan's Pharmacy when you were 13, 14 years old. Then at 16, you're running Roy's Grill.
Hmm.
And at that time, you got a raise from Roy's Grill. You were making $18 per week.
Hmm.
Now, you weren't in school, though. There were 10 children in your family, and you were helping to support the family.
Hmm.
Your 2 older brothers by that time had been drafted.
They're already in service. Hmm.
And even though it was going to be a cut in pay from $18 a week to $50 a month,
Hmm.
you wanted to serve.
I sure did.
Wanted to serve.
I
So
sure did.
finally, in 1945, you were drafted.
August the 8th,
August the 8th, 1945.
1945.
Just before your 18th birthday, is that correct?
Yeah, I went, no, just after.
Just after.
My birthday's in June, and I was drafted in August.
Turned 18,
Yeah.
drafted.
Yeah, I went down, I stayed in Fort McPherson in the mess. I stayed there during the separation period of the European heroes, you know, the veterans from the European campaign. And then when we got all of the most of those separated, then I left there and I was shipped to Fort McClellan, Alabama to basic infantry training. And I took my basic infantry training at Fort McClellan. I took 16 weeks, I believe it was, of training there. And then as soon as that was over, I went overseas. I went to Japan, and I went into the occupation forces, and I spent the rest of that year, which was 46, and until February or January or February of 47. And then I come back and they released me from active duty on February the 9th of 47.
47. And you had gone to Fort Benning for Food Service Center training as well.
Yeah, that was later. That was in 55.
55. So the military capitalized on your success in food services.
Well,
Roy's Grill sort of prepared you, and then you took your ability to run a restaurant at the age of 16,
yeah,
your ability to order, to schedule. You learned so much, and then you took it and you gave back to the military from your success and with your training. So World War II ends, and in 1948 you go into the Army Reserves, thinking, it's good. What happened in 1950?
September 1950.
Yes, sir.
The Korean War started in June. And on the 25th day of June, they invaded, and I lost my brother in August, I believe it was, August 51. I believe I'm telling you right on that. I don't remember that date exactly, but it was in August. So that just put more encouragement behind me, you know, more pushing behind me to serve, to try to make up for what they had done to our family, you know, and all this, that, and another. And I told my dad when I got orders to report for active duty in September of that year, I told my dad, I said, don't worry about me. I said, I think I'm inclined to serve. You know, I think that's my goal, is to serve in the military and all this, and I'll take care of myself.
You
You know.
did. In fact, you were one of the few. After Fort Hood, Texas, you find yourself in Korea. In fact, you found yourself in the Battle of the Chosun Reserve.
Chosun Reservoir.
Reservoir, thank you, sir. 300,000 Chinese and North Koreans surrounded you. It was the coldest winter in history, 40 below zero.
Mm-hmm.
Military were suffering, ill-equipped as far as having sleeping, the weapons were freezing. Tell us about that.
Well, I really can't tell you how we made it as well as we did, but it was, all I can tell you, it was the Lord's will that we survived, and we took over the targets that we're supposed to take, and we annihilated the enemy forces there that had the Marines cut off, and we opened up the evacuation route for the Marines to come out of this reservoir. We opened up that route so they could come on back to south. And when we got them out of there, they were bringing what few that were left of them. They had them tied on their artillery pieces. They had them just tied across them, and they had them hanging on the sides of their ragged vehicles and just wherever. And the ones that were still movable, they were dragging out of there and with their weapons as walking sticks, this, that, and another, you know, and it was awful, just to be honest with you. It was terrible.
I'm sure, sir.
And I don't know how we done it, but we done it, you know.
You survived that conflict.
Mm-hmm. And then I had to all these other conflicts to fight out here in this world, and they were just about as bad as the military.
Well, I hope
Out here in the hallway, right there in the corner, there's a picture out there of the Chosen Few monument. And with all, I had that picture made and I presented it to the Post. And it's a breakdown of how many Congressional Medal of Honors that were given for that battle, how many Silver Stars, Bronze Stars, how many men, and everything else. It's right there in that. If you take a second, just and read that, and you see and you get a whole lot more than I can tell you. A lot of this stuff, that's been a long time ago, and a lot of this stuff, I've tried to rule it out, but it comes back, just every once in a while.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 members of the chosen few here at VFW Post. Yourself, Lindy McNabb, and James McNabb.
Yes.
3.
And, well, there'll be a total of 4. I forgot about the guy in Lafayette. His name is Raymond Rayleigh, and he was in the 39th Artillery in support of us, there at the Chosin.
We are very, very fortunate to have gentlemen like you
Yeah.
here in North Georgia.
Well,
Very fortunate.
I'm a very fortunate person to be here.
City of Chirwan.
Hmm?
There was another battle. The city of
Chirwan,
Chirwan.
that was in the spring of '51.
Spring of 51.
Yeah, that's the 187 Airborne made a jump there just in front of us, and as we were going to Chirwan to either take it or whatever, we had to take it to open up the passageway to North Korea across the 38th parallel. And we had to have that city at the Chirwan. It was a railhead for the North, all of their supplies, headquarters and all that.
Oh, so it was an essential route
It's
that
an
you
essential.
had to.
That we had to take that. And our unit took that one.
You took a lot. The retaking of Seoul, Pork Chop Hill, Papasan, and when I was Jane Russell Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. See, they were named. That was the GI name for the places, but they were numbered by such numbers and location and all that on the maps, But that was our way of knowing where we were and where we were going, and our language,
Something worth fighting for, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
You told me Betty Grable adorned airplanes and posters,
Yeah.
and some of those
Yeah.
people I enjoy watching.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn
She'd come
Monroe.
over there one time when I was over there.
So you got to see Marilyn.
Just moved at a distance. I wasn't close enough to really get to see her. But I knew that it was her, that the images, I could see it well enough.
Well, no. Inspiration.
Hmm.
Yep. You come back home July 1951,
Hmm.
and you work for Roy's Grill again. Not after doing all the wonderful things that you did, all the battles, all the adrenaline, all the accomplishments. Being at home at Roy's Grill just wasn't what you wanted.
No,
1954.
I wasn't satisfied.
So in 1954, you go back into the Army full time. You have survived World War World War II. You have survived Korea. Not enough. You go back full time Army. And where do you find yourself in 1968?
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
In between 2 tours in Korea, 2 tours in Germany.
You go to Cu Chi, Vietnam, with the 555 engineer,
554.
554 engineer battalion,
Mm-hmm. D Company.
D Company. and you're there 68 and 69.
Hmm.
3 wars.
Hmm. And while I was there, they blew up my mess hall. One time it was blown to bits, killed 2 of my cooks, wounded about 14 in the chow line at noontime. Some one of the employees planted a time bomb in the tray rack, in the mess tray rack, and set it for noontime. You know, set it for noontime, and it blew it up. It blew up at noontime. You know, when we was feeding lunch. That's just one. You know, there's all kinds of things happen.
You were the director by that time.
Yeah, that was my job.
You ran the food services
Mhm.
for the military.
For that for that company.
Sergeant First Class E7.
Mm-hmm.
Climbed the ranks. But you began working when you were 13. What? You had never graduated from high school.
No,
In fact, 5th grade? 5th grade.
I took my GED in '63.
63.
I took my GED and I passed it. And then, I guess, 2002. In 2002, I guess it was, the state of Georgia come out with a program that all World War II veterans, to begin with, all World War II veterans that didn't have a high school, that was called to serve and didn't get to finish high school, that they would grant them a high school diploma. Well, I went to work on that just like that, you know. So I got it together here for the Post, and I got 13 of the members here at the Post. I got 13 of them, and we went to Ridgeland High School and got our application in, you know, to Ridgeland High School and all this. And I got 13 of them, including myself, high school diploma.
Wonderful.
You know,
And all this time while you were in the military, you continued your education
yes, I did. I went to school in the military.
in school.
I went to every chance I got to go to school, I went, you know, like to food service school, weapons training, whatever kind of class come open that I could participate in, I went, if I could.
You know the value of education.
Mhm.
Awesome. 69, finally,
Finally,
you're home.
71.
71,
That's the year I retired.
retired from the military. Most people retired from the military, 3 major wars, would say, hey, I have served, I've done my time, but not you.
Mm.
No. You took advantage of the GI Bill,
Mm-hmm.
on-the-job training, state of Georgia. You go to work at the Walker Correctional Institute in their food service.
Mm-hmm.
And you are there until 1988.
Mm-hmm. 15 years of it.
15 years. And then you say, okay, now I'm done working full-time, but I'm not done.
Mm-hmm.
You continue serving for veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Serving here 4 years as the commander at the VFW. And the guys talk about the wonderful food. You were in charge of the kitchen here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish to prepare?
I guess roast beef.
Roast beef.
I guess that's my favorite. But I enjoy doing all those different menus of the military. See, they had a master menu in the military that all units were supposed to follow, you know. And I guess that was my favorite one.
Favorite one, roast beef.
Yeah.
Definitely
But
a
I could
staple.
do, but I could do any of them.
I don't doubt that. After we're off air, you can give me some cooking hints, because Lord knows I need it.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay. High school students today. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't know what is there. What would you tell these high school kids who are about to go out, about to graduate, about to enter the world?
What I would tell them is finish their high school first and then choose the field you want to go to, and when you choose that field, stick with it,
Stick with it.
and you'll accomplish whatever you want to.
Because you have stuck with it and have been extremely successful, serving throughout the world.
Hmm.
What would you tell other members of the military service?
What would I tell them?
Yes, sir.
Well, I just tell them I appreciate their service. I appreciate their service to our country, and to continue on,
Continue on serving in whatever avenue.
whatever it is.
Continue serving with a servant's heart.
Hmm.
All right. Mr. Hickman, thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us today and sharing your wisdom, your experience with our viewers.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. This concludes Those Who Served World War II episode with Mr. Otis Hickman, retired Sergeant First Class 87. Otis and I both want to take the opportunity to encourage everyone to serve. Everyone has something to give. Make sure you give yours with servant's heart, encouraging others daily. I'm Council Lady Paula Stinnett, thanking you for your service and encouraging you to get out, volunteer, and serve in the community. It's always a beautiful day in Fort Oglethorpe. Thank you for serving. Uh-oh, Dad's gonna be mad.
If you find yourself in need of an attorney, call the law offices of Robert L. Stoltz. From auto crashes to forming a corporation, attorney Robert L. Stoltz can help you through some of life's ups and downs. Call him at 858-0023 or visit his offices at 376 Cloud Springs Road, Fort Oglethorpe.
State Line Roofing and Home Improvement has been serving citizens in the tri-state area over a decade for both home and commercial construction, replacement, and repairs. Wayne Chapman has established an honorable reputation with credible references who will confirm the quality of his work. Give Wayne a call at 423-243-8590 for a free estimate consultation. State Line Roofing and Home Improvement encourages all students to invest their time in STEM programs through their local schools and colleges. Bingo!
Make a date every Friday and Saturday evening to go to the American Legion Post 40 in Ringgold to
Play bingo.
We love bingo!
It's fun for kids of all ages.
Bingo is for veterans.
Great food, lots of fun, and money to be won.
Bingo!
Bring your family and friends to the American Legion Post 40 in Ringgold.
Hi, I'm Ron Orange, and I'm from Scottsville, Kentucky, and I'm here at Fort Oglethorpe at the World War II event. I'm thankful because I live in this country, and thankfully I was able to serve my country, and now I have the freedom that I should keep, only because we have other members of the armed services that are still putting their life on the line. That's basically what I'm thankful for.
Hello, we are Troop 537 from Watkinsville, Georgia in Oconee County, about 3 hours from here. We're thrilled to be here at the Hero event in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And we're also thankful for the veterans, the time we've had, and we're real proud of
Boy Scouts!
I'm Joe William Heflin from Walker County, a veteran of War II, Korea and Vietnam. I feel it an honor to have served. Thank God he was with me. Thank you.
My name's Molly Cooper. I'm from near Toledo, Ohio. It's actually called Perrysburg. I'm here for Remembering Our Heroes, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to come here because this is the 3rd WAC Training Center. So this is almost a historical pilgrimage for me to get to be here and represent the women of the Army Corps during World War II.
Yes, my name is LeBron Dooms. I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I come here to support this program. It's very good, very great, and I appreciate our veterans for fighting for my liberties and freedom here in America, where I can feel safe and be able to walk around and vote and everything. This is a wonderful, great country, and this is a wonderful place. This is my first time coming down here. It won't be my last. I really have enjoyed myself today, meeting a lot of people and a lot of service personnel down here.
Joining me today, I have a very special guest who was born September 30th, 1924. February 17th of 1943, at the age of 18, he volunteered with the Army Air Corps and was deployed to Camp Wheeler in Macon, Georgia. By September 1944, he had earned the rank of First Lieutenant and ferried a new B-17 to Prestwick, England, where he served with the 401st Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force as a bombardier and a navigator on the B-17G Flying Fortress. He flew 35 high-altitude combat missions. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Alan Crawford. Mr. Crawford. Mr. Crawford, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you, and a privilege.
Well, just the beginning of your bio is extensive. What made you decide to volunteer and joined the Army Air Corps at the age of 18?
Well, I'd always felt very personal about it, our country. I entered into sports in high school, and it had been very good, and I just thought it was something that I would like to do. I guess you might call it peer pressure at that time.
Were a lot of your friends joining at that time as well?
Well, some were joining and some were being drafted. And when I graduated from high school in January, I realized it was only going to be a very short period of time before I would be drafted. So I decided to go ahead and volunteer and get going with it.
So you were excited to do this. You wanted to do this and join. You flew 35 high altitude. Those are long distance, long houred combat missions.
Yes.
Sir, any of those missions, you took over the plane, you were in control of the bombing. Are there any of those missions you remember more than others? Anything that stuck out to you?
Well, I have 1, 2, or 3 in mind that I might explain, but before doing that, I would like to indicate for each mission, you voluntarily went out to that airplane. In this case, the airplane, it could be a tank or whatever, but in this case, we got to the airplane and we waited. At the time that the start engine flare went off, that's when your danger for the whole day started. In this case, the the elements of danger are three, basically: weather, fighter pilots, and flak, or the anti-aircraft guns and bullets and shells that were shot up at you. So from the moment you got to the runway and started your taxi, you had those three elements out there. Every one of those 35 missions. So that kind of impressed you. In the context of the very first mission, which was in October of '44, we were scheduled to bomb Hamburg. And that was a pretty big target, but everything being brand new and everything was exciting all around. We went to briefing and a lot of noise, a lot of people in there talking, waiting for the commanding officer to make his appearance. When that was done, everything hushed, and the weather person, the weather officer, drew the drapes open, and here on the wall was a red ribbon trailing from England to where you were going in Germany, or your target area. In this case, it happened to be Hamburg, and we got out to the airplane, and before that mission starts, we have the general briefing, which is for the gunners, pilots, and then bombardiers, everybody. Then we split into individual briefing. The pilots, bombardier with the group bombardier, and the navigators. And then we all got into our truck, went to the plane. And at that time, we were ready to take off. Well, we took off and flew over to Hamburg. And as bombardier, I always told them when to put the oxygen mask on at 10,000. And then, depending on circumstances, fighter attacked or whatever, the frequency would increase. I would call for an oxygen check. And the tail gunner, tail okay, waist okay, right up through the pilots to me. If we weren't involved, I'd make it a little longer between those checks. Anyway, to the left, I looked over and I saw a great big black cloud over there, barrage-like. And at being the new combat crew, I called their attention to the fact that, boy, look at the flak over there on the left over Hamburg. Aren't you guys glad we're not going there? And boy, did I have to eat those words, because we got to the initial point within moments and made a turn and headed right towards that black cloud. I learned to keep my mouth shut and quit describing things of that nature. But it was a very inaugurating, exhibiting mission in that we got everything, fighters and flak and so on, and we went through it, and then you learned a great deal right away.
The realization of that had to be startling, but at the same time, eye-opening, that survival was dependent upon the crew working together.
Absolutely. When you take off on the mission, you have 3 squadrons. Each squadron technically is supposed to have 12 planes. And you went out there with 36 ships. If your crew, if you didn't work with your crew, and I've always maintained throughout all my adult life, if you're in charge, that crew is going to reflect your beliefs, your requirements, your discipline, and so forth. And that's going to help. And this was exhibited throughout the 35 missions by our commanding officers. We had 2, both colonels. One was advanced to brigadier and went to 8th Air Force headquarters. But over the mission, over the target, they would say, all right, close it in. Close it in, you'd hear the pilots grumble, you can't get it any closer without walking from wingtip to wingtip. It was so close. Well, that came out because we got better bombing statistics. We had less airplane loss, casualties, because our cone of firepower was maintained. The 36 ships that kept the cone and the firepower, and everything was better. And when we ended the war, 401st had a very enviable record on lesser casualties, better what they called the CE center air, and so forth.
You had a great record of success.
Yes.
But with a strong team.
It's strong.
Working together.
Strong team and strong leadership.
The war was a fascinating time of your life, a time of learning, a time of development, a time when you realized your potential and capabilities. But then after the war, you continued your education. You went back to school, you earned a BS in Business Administration and Personal Management with a minor in Economics and Psychology, and then after earning that degree, right after World War II, you returned to school again in 1991. At the age of 67, you completed a master's degree in Criminal Justice Administration. Why?
Well, the world was evolving, was getting more knowledgeable. The world itself was becoming more educated, and I felt I needed that master to support or add to what I'd already accomplished in the sense of education. And the education was an extremely important and valuable thing. It supplied me with the means to provide for my family and provide education for them. And I originally sold Crawford Research several years later to the Wackenhut Corporation out of Miami, Florida, Coral Gables, Florida. And I did that because I was getting tired. I was working night and day. And I said, I've got to get some money into the till, so we'll be here to provide the education for my 3 sons.
Before this degree, in July 1951, you joined the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI,
yes.
And you were a special agent with them till 1957. J. Edgar Hoover reign. I understand you were an agent under his rule. Tell us some stories about being in the FBI.
Well, that's what we've been talking about here. When I went in the FBI, and the minute I stepped into that room and raised my hand, I knew there was no room for foolishness here. You felt it. And that was a direct reflection of Hoover down through the ranks as far as I was concerned. And all the time I was in the FBI, we never had a problem with agent personnel or any background problem that surfaced and made them do something. So after Mr. Hoover died, we started encountering problems like that because his force and personality and discipline was not there. But I could, at least I personally sensed that when I went into that room. And the reason I volunteered for that was I was still Air Force Reserve, and the Korean War had started, and people interviewing at the college level did not want to take the risk of my being hired and then recalled. And I had one person asked me if I wasn't being a little over loyalty, a little bit extreme that way. I said, don't you feel that you did your business, you did what was required of you for this country? And I said, well, I did what I had to do, and I did what I felt I should do, and that's something that still stays. And they asked, would you do it again? I said, absolutely.
Absolutely. Over and above the call of duty, but following your heart.
Yeah, that's the call of duty, what you feel there. What is providing this for you? I mean, you know, where'd all this good stuff come from? It had to come from somebody in front of us. It was a sort of a pass down, here it is, it's free. Sort of like today, you know, all this stuff is out there. That came from the greatest generation, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
The greatest generation. And you did provide that freedom.
Yes. Yeah. And I think I said it earlier, but in that situation, you knew where you were going, which some of our wars here lately, they don't know where they're going. We did. We were there to win, not to lose, and we fought to win. And that's what we won.
You did. You won.
Right.
For God and country. So you had 2 careers already. You had a military career. You had a career with FBI. But that wasn't enough. Then you went on to establish Crawford Research Incorporated, a security consulting firm, which later you sold. But during your time with that entity, you worked for Playboy Enterprises, Hugh Hefner, Wells Fargo Guard Services. You were the Vice President of Investigations. Yeah. You helped to stop some food stamp fraud, the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. You headed a special task force to investigate Medicare fraud and abuse in the home health industry. And you also worked for the Department of Education. You helped them. You've done a little bit of everything. You're impressive. What stands out to you those years and all the different entities in which you have served?
Well, my time with Playboy Enterprises and Hugh Hefner was probably the most challenging and difficult security type job that I had, with all the office buildings across the country, the Playboy clubs, personnel, the aircraft. I had the same kind of security for the aircraft, and when Hefner was on board and that type. So I just felt that very strongly, and that was probably the most difficult situation. And Wells Fargo, I went there as Vice President of Investigations. They had heard about some of my success earlier. Then I went down to Florida, and I reestablished Ellen Crawford and Associates, Inc. And that's where all the other whatevers came in, and so on.
Well, you definitely established a great reputation and a good name for yourself and for your company.
Yes.
Now, you're 91 now. 91. You actually said you retired in 2000 to 2001.
Yes.
You and your lovely wife, Amelia, who I've had the honor of meeting. 7 children, 14 grandchildren. But you're really not retired, are you?
Well, business-wise and work-wise, no, we need to redefine that word retirement or retired, because I and many people I've since become associated with have the same feeling. Your workload increases. You know, you add to it. Yeah, I'll do that, or yes, I like that. And you've done this in the past. Well, I've worked that. You know, that kind of thing comes up, and you start accepting, and all of a sudden you are not retired.
Because you still volunteer, and you help in different events, especially veteran events, and you also are still active with the 401st Bomb Group. You are serving on the board of directors until 2016.
Yes.
So you're obligated for the next couple of years to continue in that effort as well.
Yes.
Uh-oh, Dad's gonna be mad.
If you find yourself in need of an attorney, call the law offices of Robert L. Stoltz. From auto crashes to forming a corporation, attorney Robert L. Stoltz can help you through some of life's ups and downs. Call him at 858-0023 or visit his offices at 376 Cloud Springs Road, Fort Oglethorpe.
State Line Roofing and Home Improvement has been serving citizens in the tri-state area over a decade for both home and commercial construction, replacement, and repairs. Wayne Chapman has established an honorable reputation with credible references who will confirm the quality of his work. Give Wayne a call at 423-243-8590 for a free estimate consultation. State Line Roofing and Home Improvement encourages all students to invest their time in STEM programs through their local schools and colleges.
Bingo!
Make a date every Friday and Saturday evening to go to the American Legion Post 40 in Ringgold to
play bingo. We love bingo!
It's fun for kids of all ages.
Bingo is for veterans.
Great food, lots of fun, and money to be won.
Bingo! Bingo!
Bring your family and friends to the American Legion Post 40 in Ringgold.
Hi, I'm Steve Cooper. I'm from Perrysburg, Ohio, which is just south of Toledo, and came down here for the event. This is our second year coming down here, and I'm thankful for all these great World War II veterans who put their lives on hold to go across the ocean and fight a tyrannical leader and keep us free so we can enjoy our freedoms.
My name is Howard Massey, and I'm thankful for everything. And I'm a World War II vet.
Hello, I'm John Facey from Boynton, Georgia. I want to say thanks to all the school bus drivers that make our children safe in Catoosa County.
Hi, I'm Father Bill Williams from St. Gerard Catholic Church, and I'm thankful for the people of Fort Oglethorpe.
I'm Emery Molnix. I'm from Ringgold, Georgia, and I'm thankful for my family and my sisters and everyone who's here today.
Hello, I'm Ron Hayes. I'm thankful that I'm alive. I'm vertical. I work today. I intend to work next week. Work is part of my game. I'm thankful that God let me be here in order to do that. I'm thankful that Paula is letting me be on her camera. That's all I got to say.